Thank you for joining us here at Prosperity Trade, where we discuss everything trading and investing related. Today, I'd like to discuss why I'm so bullish on ticker symbol MP. And after such a major drop, should you buy the dip? So before we begin, please take a look at our disclaimer. We are not investment advisors, and this is for the sole purpose of education. And on another disclaimer, I am invested in this stock and have been invested in this stock for quite a few months now. So why am I still so bullish, and why did I increase my position in ticker symbol MP? So let's discuss what this company does. So MP Material owns and operates Mountain Pass, the only integrated rare earth mining processing site in North America. So that right there, you start to think of moat possibly, especially with China-U.S. relations, where we obtain a lot of these materials right now. They're the only earth mining processing site in the United States. So that's a big plus right there. Mountain Pass has one of the world's highest quality deposits of rare earth, which allows MP Materials to be a global low-cost producer while adhering to our rigorous environmental standards and fulfilling our commitments to employees in our community. So that's another thing they boast. They adhere to all safety protocols and go above and beyond to make sure that as they extract these materials, that they do it in a safe manner, as opposed to other countries where regulations aren't as stringent. So MP Material helps fuel the electrification and global infrastructure. They're the largest producers of rare earth materials in the Western Hemisphere, and through their state-of-the-art zero discharge operations, they deliver approximately 15% of global rare earth supply of the NdPr, which is a crucial input to the powering of electric vehicles, wind turbines, drones, robots, and many other advanced technologies. So that's another plus, plus, plus. Three great reasons to be invested in this stock. We know how big the electric vehicle movement is. We know how big green energy movement is. We know how big drones are, robots, how the country is starting to shift, how the world is starting to shift over the next few years. All these companies are starting to shift to EV. States are getting strict. So this company is going to be a part of all of that. So that's why I'm so bullish on this. So if you take a look here, you see how critical NdPr magnets are to us here in the United States and the world, and how important they're going to be for the next century. So they're powering wind turbines, robotics, electric vehicles, drones, electric public transportation. So that's how important they are. They're magnets. They're also important to our national defense, as rare earths are used in various missiles, smart bombs, unarmed aircraft, submarines. Also, just to know, rare earth magnet applications are forecast to account for roughly 40% of total rare earth demand by 2030, compared to 29% in 2020. So that's according to analyst Roskill. So the demand for these things have increased tremendously. Right now, China has about 70% of the world's known rare earth reserve, the most in the world. Australia also has some. And the U.S. joined, and this is another news headline, and this came out in Barron. They've had two articles regarding the U.S. Sanctioning Chinese official over human rights violations. That's another catalyst for MP. As long as Biden is president, he's going to push green energy. If China relation, where they have 70% of this rare earth, we're going to be depending on this company a lot longer. So what this company is going through three stages. Their first stage, and let me go to this stage. So their first stage, they've actually completed their first stage, and that's there's a whole process to extracting these rocks, separating them, their flotation, filter press, and then concentrate to the rotary kiln. So once they do, they're in the second stage here. Okay, so they have to filter the materials, and it goes through the process of, and this is all this process is for extracting the material that is going to make the magnet that we use. So once they pass this, and they're expected to pass it hopefully within the next year, stage 3 is the final process well, they'll actually have the NdPr magnets, and this is where I expect the biggest boost in revenue, the biggest boost in price spike. So this is kind of like an update on stage two, that they're well on track to completing stage two. So another thing that you notice here is the last year, how much they've increased in revenue. Almost 100% in revenue they've increased in the last year. So they've increased in revenue, and they've lowered production costs. Here, if you see here, production costs lowered. So they're on track. The owner, the CEO, the founder, he's also the CEO. So he's hands-on involved, which is always a positive thing anytime you're investing in a company. I kind of want to go over here a presentation they did, and this is their potential market, just for the vehicles, where they think they're going to be fitting into. And of course, Tesla, Toyota, Volkswagen, Honda, Ford, all the major companies are going to need their permanent magnets. So more usages for the NdPr magnet market: EV powertrains, e-transports, wind turbines, robotics, other automotive, electronics, disk drives, speakers. Here's another how the turbines, which if the use for turbines, if the green movement gets pushed and there's funding, they're going to need the NdPr magnets. This is what we discussed about the defense system, and the need for not being dependent on China has been discussed in the past. And these are the stages that we talked about. The final stage, which is this stage two, is in the process. And according to their last investor presentation that they made, they're well on track and on schedule to completing phase two, stage two. Stage three is where this stock, to me, is going to take off. If we're going to be this is the only company in the United States providing these magnets, I'm just assuming that every company in the United States, especially since they're boasting that they keep production costs low, so they'll be able to compete with China's prices. So there's no reason for this stock not to be one of the sole providers of this magnet. It's a monopoly, I guess, but they're they have the land. They have the only land in America that can make this material. So that's something that's an extreme reason to be bullish. And this is some price estimates, and of course this is their own estimates and CRU estimates, and they're predicting that when they pass that stage three, that themselves, management, they're conservative, and management projects that it'll be in the 70s, but there's some people that predict it'll be as high as 140. Either way, it's definitely going to be something we need to definitely have in our portfolio. So this was just a quick overview of the company, and so let's see here. We go on their income statement. Again, see, they made 73 million and almost doubled that in 2020. So their management team is doing what they have to do. They recently had an offering. So they had an offering recently. And I bought some more when they dropped, but they dropped 18% on Tuesday, and just today it already went back up 10%. So that, to have a 600 million offering, to be in a market where there's basically a market correction going on, and to be able to bounce back, that tells me that there's a lot of people investing in this. And you see here, if we look at the chart here on FinViz, they've been on an uptrend, just kind of bouncing here between their support and resistance, and they've been on a strong uptrend. And even during the correction, they were still strong stock. Uh, just that offering and the correction gave a great opportunity for dip buys. And the price that it's on right now, to me, it's still a great price. Of course, we always have to keep in mind of the macro and what's going on with the markets. But regardless, I am so bullish. This is probably top three stocks for me, and that I'm so bullish on in my portfolio. And last thing before we go, if you click below, you can actually click on my. I have a couple of. I have a couple of different brokers that I use. I use M1 for like just long-term things that I'm not going to touch. I use Lightspeed, and I also use Webull. So if you look here, they have an option on my M1 where I can share my portfolio, share my stocks that I'm in, and they give you this chart basically, and they tell you if you invested $100 last year, or yeah, in October of 2020, which is less than last year, how much your 100 would be worth. So obviously, you do the math. If you invested 1,000, then it would have been 7,000. So even with the correction, these stocks, if you were invested in them since October of 2020, you would still be up 300%. Now, I haven't been invested in them. This can be misleading. I have not been invested in all these stocks since October. I wish, but they just still kind of like pick those stocks. So, of course, Palantir, STPK, CRS, BNGO, Senseonics, EXAS, PLUG, Plug, and MP, which is not 4%. This is a little old. I've already increased this to, I think, 15%. But this is just, you can click and take a look on that if you want. And also, if you get a chance, please go on our website, on YouTube, and subscribe and like. And if you've stayed on this long, thank you very much. And if you want to see more videos, please, join us on some of the other videos that we've made in the past. Thank you. Have a great day.